Welcome. This is the Medicine Weaver podcast, a space where stories, spirit, and wisdom of lived experience braid together. I'm Christine Marie, author, energy medicine practitioner, ceremonialist, and a human who has walked through many thresholds of loss, rebirth, and creative remembrance. On this episode, we weave medicine from everyday moments, the initiations, the heartbreaks, the synchronicities, and the quiet truths that rise when we're finally ready to listen. Welcome. Let's take a breath together. I'm so glad that you're here to join me. So if you've been following along on my Substack, I've been doing Medicine Weaver podcasts with just being meditations, which I'll still do, but I've been feeling really called to use my voice in a different way. And there's been many changes in my life within the last couple of years, and I feel that these changes are leading me towards a different path, a path of maybe perhaps more teaching, more sharing my voice, more artistry. And it's a really beautiful time for me to step into this growth edge. I've always hated the sound of my voice. I've always been really camera shy, and I thought, what better way to give myself permission to be messy, to be imperfect, just really show up authentically, despite those fears that I have. And so I'm doing something brave, I'm doing something new, I'm putting myself out there, and this feels really good and also really scary. So I appreciate you being here with me, and I'm excited to walk this journey together. I've walked beside clients and students and friends and communities as they navigate the deepest part of their story. Instances where grief has reshaped their whole lives, healing that asked more of them than they thought they could give, and transformations that came in waves, and not neatly packaged steps or even in a non-linear way. And so what I've learned is that we heal through connection, we heal through discomfort, we heal through returning to the body and remembering that what we have inside of ourselves is a lot of wisdom that's ancient, and we're here to remember what that wisdom is. And know that this podcast was born from a desire to share the medicine that has carried me and the medicine I witness emerging in others. And each episode is going to be different. Could be a story, could be a reflection, could be a ceremonial invitation, practical tools for living a more soul-led, embodied, and creative life, especially for those who consider themselves sensitive beings, and artists and leaders and people who are here to make impact in the world in a way that they might need a little bit of support. And I believe that we all have medicine to share. We all are weaving our own medicine braid, and what beauty would it be to do it together? So you also might hear some guided reflections, maybe some spoken word poetry. As you all know, I'm a poet. Maybe some music, as I'm a amateur musician, sound healer as well, and some meditations still that will be extra bonuses for people who want to go deeper. So one thing I want to say is that I've always wanted to be a paid writer, a paid author, a paid teacher. And, Substack makes that possible, and you make that possible. And so if you ever feel like joining and celebrating the value that I'm sharing with you all, it would really mean a lot if you could upgrade your subscription, and therefore you get so many more offerings from me, so much more depth, so much more personalization. And if you're finding me on YouTube, there are many ways to upgrade by going to my Substack and upgrading there, or also buying me a coffee, or somehow, sharing a donation. It's absolutely not mandatory. And I also am just here to be a leader in the space of, hey, there's so much of us putting and giving and sharing authentic medicine. And I believe it has value. And why not feel worthy to receive the energy exchange that's supportive to that? So I just wanted to put that little bit in there, but it's absolutely not mandatory. It's just an invitation. And everything I share, whether it's in my ceremonies and my offerings on this podcast, is an invitation. So take what you will, take what resonates, and leave the rest. And I'd love to also hear how anything speaks to you if you're listening to this while you work out, or you're driving your car, doing something significant in your life, and you happen to receive this podcast. Let me know. I'd love to hear what shows up for you. So for today's episode, I really want to talk about this threshold of return. A lot of you that are following my November energy expression reading, I shared that it is a month of transition threshold, which by that means there's many moments for us throughout this time, throughout the season, when life might ask us to pause, to take inventory, to shed something really heavy on our hearts, or to step forward with courage than we feel ready to hold, which is what I feel like this coming out with this podcast is exactly doing for me. It's coming out with courage, even when it feels really uncomfortable. And so maybe you're in a season like that right now, or maybe you will be, or maybe you have been for a while. And maybe the ways in which you've navigated the season isn't working anymore. Maybe there's deeper truths that your body is whispering to you that it's no longer time to ignore. And maybe, you are being invited to do something really bold, like starting a podcast, like writing a book, like taking improv lessons, like having a really challenging conversation with your parental figure, or really allowing yourself to take up space more in your relational interactions. And no matter how big or small, just know that these moments of changes that we make in our lives are what leads to the biggest breakthroughs. And I'm so excited to update you on what's been happening for me with that. Like, I've been really just kind of in the weeds of my life, of like the mundane life. And it's been such a rich and wonderful experience to allow myself to feel grounded and taking in the joy of just what's around me. And that's been life-changing, and that's been actually leading me further on my goals and desires and dreams than I was before, because a lot of what I was used to is kind of dreaming in the mind, and not having the rootedness to like really execute, or not having the confidence or the support that I needed. And now it feels like so much has come together because I've really done my work and still doing my work. I'm always a work in progress, to be accepting of being in this human body as a spirit being versus resisting the human experience, which is something that I was doing my whole life. And so it takes work, it takes rest, it takes joy, it takes balance, it takes resources, it takes support. But nonetheless, I really feel like it comes back down to the simplicity of everyday life and how much we can take that for granted. For example, I'm doing this Grieve with Guidance course, and one of the students, we're playing with how the elements help us tend to the grief that's inside of us. And the first week was Earth, and one of the students went to witness one of her trees outside blowing and the leaves falling. And there was like this moment that she felt really held and safe and grounded. And again, like, it could be in a split second that if you're paying attention enough to what's around you, that like those, like that help is everywhere. That, whether it's our ancestors, our guides, the universe is always speaking to us and always there to give us little glimmers of hope. And we just have to open up our hearts and our eyes and our ears to listen and to really allow ourselves to receive. So I want you to just take a moment to notice maybe what part of you is calling for support, for more space, for more breath, more care, and see where throughout your day you can find that little glimmer of hope that's maybe been knocking on your door, and maybe you've been ignoring it. I know I'm guilty of it too. And just to see if you can really lean into a sense of growth and a sense of edginess that you might have felt scared to lean into. And know that, it doesn't have to be anything major. It can be something so minor, seemingly, that creates something of really big impact in your life. I realized by playing guitar and learning that instrument, persistence and consistency is key to learning an instrument. And yet sometimes we just get in our own way. And sometimes getting in our own way tells us a lot about how we might be doing that in other areas of our life, other than just the instrument that, we're playing or trying to learn. I'll speak more about that later. But anyways, I wanted to keep this a little brief. I'd love for you to subscribe on Substack, leave a comment, and share this with somebody who might need it, or, could just really use a little bit of a pick-me-up. You can also find this episode on YouTube, where I'll be weaving sound, visuals, and storytelling into an immersive experience. But again, a lot of those experiences will be behind a paywall, just so that, I can keep my energy strong and hold this container in a sustainable way, as things move and shift in my professional life. So thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing, to listen, to choose a life of depth, devotion, and remembrance. Thank you for walking this path with me, one breath at a time. May you trust your body. May you trust your intuition. May you trust the sensitivity that is nothing more than a superpower when you really give it space and time to teach you about yourself. And may you walk gently with the medicine you carry. Until next time.